Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to GameStar TV. Nice short break, short, sharp, and to the point. Let's get into game number 2. So just to clarify, this is the last match on stream, but it's a BO3. So we're at 1-0 to Dark-Sided at the moment. And the question is, can Nomia dig themselves away, get themselves away from the tilt and bring back another game and make it our second 3-game series of the night. So if you're a Nomia fan, put some energy into the Twitch chat to see if we can get that result. And of course, if you're a Dark-Sided fan, put some energy to try and counteract that, because that stuff definitely works, as we all know. Well, without further ado, let's get stuck into the Cursed Hollow. It's going to be Skimmy and Vandy taking you through that once again.
That's the one there, Crisis, jumping into Cursed Hollow with Nomia locking in this map. Another map which fits the bill when it comes to globals, and that's exactly where Nomia feeling the need to get their comfort back in. The emergency breaks have come out. They need to out-rotate. They got beaten at their own game on Dragonshire, which they felt was a good map for them. And straight away, the fast is denied by Darkside on the right.
Yep, they're saying we want none of your tricks on this. And interestingly enough, Nomia, they are hovering that Dahaka ban, thinking that they would want to use it for themselves, but they say, no, we've got other tricks up our sleeve. And whether that takes the form of an Illidan accompanied by an Abathur or something equally sweaty, let's wait and see.
It's interesting to note that the Illidan and Abathur is played by both teams. And the Dahaka, we haven't really seen Darkseid ever play it, but it's better to take your chances. Better to not take those risks and actually just ban it away to make sure that you aren't trumped or surprised in that draft and force that sort of knee-jerk reaction, which we have seen in the past really work against teams. You need to get a solid draft. You need to get a solid opening and turn this thing around. No Oriole or Tassadar or Uther, for that matter, with the ban. And that's going to result in a Tassadar first pick.
That's exactly it in both teams' favor and way great importance on that hero. So the fact that Tassadar got through to the drafting phase, as well as the fact that Darkside were able to take it up, Darkside surely have a plan in mind to utilize this Tassadar to the best of their extent.
Let's have a look to see how Nomia decide to open things out here. With those both globals taken off the board, with the support still being available, they are just going to lock in with the safe instead. Of no surprises there. Vala and Oriole can complement it with anything. If Tassadar is taken off, they can always decide to go for the Zyra as well, gives them some good wave clear. Also, potentially, if we read into the draft, generally speaking, how brawler-centric Darkseid want to go, the feel the heat talent really brings a lot of value and would allow them to actually try and swing the sort of tide of the fight in their favor.
It really would, and pairs quite nicely. Fills the role that the Tassadar would have. But like I said, by taking the Oriole as well, it had to be by Nomia. They could not have let Darkseid get both the Tassadar and Oriole. That would have been almost like another nail in the coffin. They're just too good together at the moment. The Cassia, great counterpick to Vala, and works quite nicely with that Tassadar as well. So double support already being shown by Darksided. Whether Nomia also want to roll with double support, let's wait and see, Skibby.
I really love these two picks from Darkseid so far. Adding to your points as well, Cassia is also a preemptive pick towards the Illidan. Especially we can go for the inner light talent at level 4, which means you emit a blind when you're stunned. Obviously, preemptively can be used, so when the hunt comes across, he cannot do much after that. Also, the Malfurion, both the Root and the Twilight Dream, slowing down that momentum. So a bit of foresight going into these picks, not going to reveal anything, but are aiming to sort of deter Nomia from potential picks like that Illidan.
Absolutely. So works well against the Vala, works well against the Illidan. So Darkseid, they're showing their cards, but like you said, not their trump card, not yet. So Nomia, once again, it looks like they want to ban out that ETC again. Sashin has shown that he likes that hero. It offers them either a global or just a great area of effect knockup, either if you take Stage Dive or Mosh Pit. But at the last minute, opting to ban out the Arthas instead.
So this suggests to me, Vanny, that they are still quite attracted to the idea of picking up the Illidan. ETC would be there for the point control, I suppose, where you can power slide onto a boss pit, for example, and control with the Mosh Pit to follow up, much the same as we saw to some extent last game. The Arthas sort of shines to say, hey, if it collapses with our Vala or Illidan, it really is all over from there. But the Mirrodin is going to be the response. This time, Darkseid don't want it in their arsenal. It's up to Nomia now to complement this Vala trinity that they're starting to build together.
It is, and by also banning out that Arthas, I mean, he can cause quite a trouble for Vala as well, so removing obvious picks. Like you said, Illidan, a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more, juicy to pick up now on the side of Nomia by removing one of his biggest counters. But the Stitches Uther being the fallback once again. This time, however, it will work a lot nicer in their favor, I feel, because of that Valor and Oriole. By that, having that battery and then to have the Divine Shield, or the hook, and there's so many ways that Nomia can play this composition.
So when we saw back in Season 3, Darkseid had actually used the Stitches Uther against Nomia, they really seemed to, fall behind for such a long time, but the response really from Nomia was, we need to pick a comp that has engaged. So, as soon as the Stitches tries to go for the hook, if it is the Gorge to follow things up with, we can actually jump onto him, we can burn him down before we can actually try and do any kind of shenanigans with that. So far, we haven't really seen too much. We've seen Cassia enabled by the double supports. It's really going to be up to where they go now. You'd imagine it's going to be a solo DPS with a double tank front line. The Leoric is still available, and it has proved to be really successful so far.
I think Leoric would be smart. Otherwise, a Diablo. Both of them can prove to be quite good in countering a lot of what Stitches is trying to bring. But as well as I'd like to see, with that Muradin gone now, I would have liked to see that Muradin, but because he's gone, maybe then just giving them another just range DPS.
Well, there you go, Vandy. They are going to go for the Diablo, which is good. Mm-hmm. But what I like as well is they've gone for the Tyrael as well. Not going to opt for the ETC, but they go for this place so they can actually use Sanctification on the point, not to mention the Holy Ground at level 16 to body block people into undesirable situations. But whoa! There comes out the TLV, the first time this new Nomia roster brought it to the table. And last time they used it would have been at the Western Clash against the Team Freedom Boys.
I love to see this by Nomia. This is that little ace up their sleeve. And the Tyrael I like as well. I was saying a bit of range DPS, but this works as well. Tyrael can also build to be quite the bruiser. And it also slots into the double support, double warrior. So all eyes are on Cassia to be the majority of their damage and keeping her safe.
So that was the plan that you were discussing at the start of this draft, Fanny. They ban away the Faster. They deny themselves Vidahaka, knowing full well that all the supports would be available, knowing that Tesla would probably be the most attractive first pick option. Mm-hmm. They say, we now have Lost Vikings. There is no global that you have on your side to respond to this. Once again, we are known for our macro, and that's exactly what we want to achieve on a map like Cursed Hollow.
Indeed. This is that Nomia strategy, and possibly this was the game plan going into it all along, like you said, Skimmy. So very well done by Nomia. And almost in regards to NMD surprising us with that last little pick at the end there.
Let's jump into this one. The final series of tonight. First and second seed up for play. And the series is currently with a 1-0 lead for the boys of Darkseid. Let's introduce them on the red-hand side to your right. His demise on Tassadar, Haki playing Cassia this time. Moops once again on Malfurion, Robodoba flexing with Diablo, and Sashin played by Tyrael.
And I mean, while we take a moment in this pause that was called by Ryumak, we can introduce the boys in blue, Team Nomia, Jim Jam on Uther, Ryu playing the Lost Vikings, Vanilla on Oriole, Penta on Stitches, and Fat94 playing Valor.
He will be playing Valor, a hero that he finds a lot of success on, and that's what they're going to need to do. Go back to comforts. A lot of these heroes are actually comforts for these players, except really for Jim Jam, filling that flex role as John for tonight. He's going to be playing the Uther, a role that you have to hope he is comfortable on, in that double supporting flex capability.
I mean, you'd hope. Otherwise, what is Jim Jam doing with himself? He's saying, I just wanted to play a Leeming and not like this. I probably thoughts are going through his head. But Jim Jam, he can show us that he's not just a one-trick pony. And I've got it in me to believe. Templar's Will being picked up by Demise here, Skimmy, as opposed to stacking up the the Psy Wave. So showing that Demise really wants to offer that utility and make sure that he can harass as much as possible with his auto attack.
Yeah, less to do with the wave clear, more to do with the peeling potential to try and slow somebody down. And this seems to be a direct response to the Stitches, much the same as they've gone for the Diablo, which was the exact response Nomia used to try and tackle the Stitches. They've then got the Templar's Will on top of it, slow down the Stitches, really manipulate where he runs to, and try and control it from there. But we are going to start things off, and it is going to be Nomia going for that traditional 4-man push, accelerated by the Valor with the Oriole, and with the Vikings doing what they can in those side lanes.
Yep, Vikings just used to body soak, and they have picked up that Viking bribery, so that can be quite advantageous on a map like this, especially when you want to capitalize on picking up the Giants and utilizing where the tribute is going to spawn for the curses.
Oh, weird pathing there as Robodoba jumps on in, collapsing onto Ryu himself. But you can just see that the initial trade between both Fat94 and Haki Cassia, he trades with the passive, with the movement speed active available. Then the blind comes out, and it's just literally nothing Ben can do.
It really is. This time now the Darksided boys causing for a bit of a pause. Whether it be some lag or some settings, Not sure what's going on tonight. Maybe their palms are too sweaty from the last game that they played, Skimmy.
Hopefully their knees aren't weak as well, because the NBN or the ADC or whatever kind of Aussie connection they have needs to be able to withstand the pressure, the tilt, whatever you guys want to describe it as, because the PPs are out here. We are waiting for the pause. We are waiting for that level 1 shenanigans to begin. But, you know, if I throw it back to my days, back in my day, Uncle Skimmy says, I used to play on a hotspot. It was all about using my phone as the 4G.
Oh, here we go.
And those were some troubling times for an aspiring esport entrepreneur.
This story gets brought out at least once or twice, but it never gets old, Skimmy, just like yourself. And I was just trying to think back to the last time we got to see Cursed Hollow in play. It was probably almost Season 3. We haven't yet seen this map being touched, at least on stream. So first Cursed Hollow of this new season.
The hook is good, just there to follow, and this is what they were looking for last game. They couldn't find it, but they do connect this time around. Templars will going to get a lot of value as the mouth fruit locks onto Jim Jam, but Robodoba, the beefy Philo that he is himself, manages to stick through, does not concede first blood at this early stage of the game.
Not yet, he says. And look at this 5 men, if you count the little Viking, let's say 4.5 men down in that bottom lane, and they've actually left Sashin to duo soak the top and mid lanes.
That's what they're after. The hook is there, and Cassia cannot utilize that trait when she is standing still, when they take full advantage of that, executing, getting the first blood, and now getting the commanding pressure that they much need in this bottom lane to get the siege on.
That's exactly the kill that Nomia were waiting to happen. Well, expecting to happen. It was only going to be a moment of time, and they're saying, all right, now that you don't have this chromie, look at how much more. There's just no zoning now coming out on the side of Darkside. It's a completely different game. Nomia know that they have the siege, and they're taking it to Darkside.
And this is much of the concern of many players in the scene, why it becomes a bit stagnant, a little bit boring to some degree here, because you can do things like this, just push aimlessly, mindlessly, if you will, in the bot lane. But Robodoba has something else to say about that. Shadow charge in, overpower out. Vanilla survives on 15 health, Vandy. Do you believe it? First blood denied for Darksided.
Cannot believe it at all, but Vanilla as well, so selfless. Instead of using the built-up hope heal on himself, uses it onto Fat 94. Detainment strike going out. This is Moops, who is now the one that gets killed. So Nomia flipping it.
That was a choreographed dance right there. The hook comes out, the stun to follow, and the sidestep for the detainment strike into the wall. Stuns for days. And Nomia wastes no time with that one, forcing the other members of Darksided to go back to base, regenerate their resources, and now allow this fort to start being jumped upon.
It's almost like a repeat, but it's just we're on a different map. So it was Darksided that were doing this to Nomia, really zoning them out and bringing the fight. This time now it's Nomia. So both teams, they understand their composition, and the fact is, if Vanilla had died there, it would have been a totally different story.
Oh, Vanilla is the MVP. If you didn't catch that, he actually mid-Shadow Charge interrupted it with the Detainment Strike. Such a powerful play, but is it going to be enough? No, it's not, because Haki, against all odds, running into 4 members, utilizing his passive, staying alive, getting 1 kill, trading it for a second. They're looking for another. Diablo falls amongst it. But it is a 2-for-1, and Darkseid are not giving up this lane.
Not yet, and that was finally the opening that Darkseid won. But look at how low they are, Skimmy. That's just dangerous. Thankfully, it's just Vanilla and Penta that they're the only ones alive, and they come out on top. With the top tribute being spawned, we don't yet see any team making a move for it just yet.
It's Tyria right now against 3 little dudes, as you like to coin them, half men, if you want to be really offensive in 2017, lol.
Lol. I mean, it's all about being PC in this stream, but I'm just kidding right here. With the Lost Vikings, Nomia, they've chosen to instead ignore the first tribute and continue pushing. They want this fort down, and that really plays into their strategy. It's not about the tribute just yet. It's about really opening up, getting as much experience as possible, and then rotating once this lane has been freed up.
Especially, I mean, when it's level, I mean, it's only 1 tribute that you're picking up. There's no risk of being cursed. Now this actually opens up the potential to get a boss and run that one straight down to the keep. And we've seen in the past, when a boss can be picked up this quickly, if you can get the kills, you can end the game very, very quickly. But the right idea is achieved by Darkseid. They're going to do the exact same in the top lane. Going to pick off Olaf here, and he stands no chance.
Nope. While his little buddy was picking up the golems right here, Darksided, they were busy in that top lane. But look at this, the immediate recalls. Nomia, they show no signs of stopping yet with the siege, and they're going for it, Skimmy. They want to put the pressure down on this map, force the recall, force Darksided to react.
Yeah, so far this game, it seems to be Darkseid always 1 step behind. The TLV really coming into its zone, exploiting the one weakness we've always described that Darkseid have had, but they patched up during game number 1, and it's been forced to come to this one now in game number 2. The next tribute spawning in the bottom right side of that map. would do quite nicely for them to pick up a boss, but they need to contest this one.
This really favors Nomia as well, only because as well the Giants are pushing in the top lane and the TLV has picked up Mercenary Lord, so they deal 50% more damage. That's more siege potential going out.
Robodobo once again on the prowl, looking for it. He catches one of the Vikings on the flank, not the target he's after. Dimensional Shift is forced out very early on. And level 10 is on the horizon. This time they've got to decide how they want to shot call this. The call has been made. We're going to go for boss. We're going to hit 10 with this one as well, but we've always got to be careful because Curse Point is available for Darkseid next time.
That's it. So boss call has been made, like you said, Skimmy, but Darkseid, they don't want to be left outdone, and they don't want to be left behind. Ooh, Sashin. Was that a bit of a feint or a bit of a bait?
The mind games are incredible right now. Tyrael on his own. Sashin, as you mentioned, yeah, single-handedly running by, scaring Nomia off. The reverse bait has happened, and Darkseid, all four of them in the top side, are just going to pick up their boss uncontested.
Ooh, and what this happens is Nomia, they need this tribute. Otherwise, it's going to be a cursed boss, and that could be disastrous for them. They need that level 10 as well, but now they're starting boss. I'm not sure. What is the call now?
This is some weird and wacky shot calling at that, but let's take a chance to quickly browse over these choices of level 10 ultimates. It is going to be the Gorge in the end, and Divine Storm to boot as well, so they definitely want that potential to try and stick around, try and deny the dive that has been coming out so far. Boss is going to be picked up, but yeah, we're going to see Darkseid saying we don't even care about this tribute. We're quite happy to give it up to you.
I mean, they are, but they're also confused and conflicted. Sashin's trying to delay the stall. What are they going to do? Are they going to fight? They know that they need level 10. That's why Sashin is so reluctant, Darkseid as well, so reluctant to start the fight.
And there goes the Judgment to start things off with. The root is really good for Mips as well. Twilight Dream is looking for that first kill to start things off with. Can they collapse it? But no, there's the APOC. Hits 3 members. Divine Storm comes out from Jim Jam just before that, but it's not going to be enough. Uther trades out for Diablo, and the Divine clones doing whatever he can to keep Fat 94 alive. He's got no mana and no chance of living unless Vanilla can get some energy, and energy quick.
He is looking for it. Hacky is now the one to fall. Vanilla able to stall. And that beautiful hook. The Containing Strike just misses, but I believe this is going to be Demise's end.
Oh, Ben nearly found the other kill as well in terms of mouth. But yeah, as you mentioned, the boss is now pushing bot lane, looking to take out a keep. Tribute can be picked up after all things were considered. And a fight that looked a little bit racy at times, but Nomia managed to stabilize.
I mean, weird and wacky shot calling, but it worked out for Nomia in the end. A lot of that was because Fat 94 could live through those fights, as well as Vanilla. It did not matter that Jim Jam was the one to fall. In fact, it worked in their favor because he was able to spam the devotion enough for Vanilla to get the hope to then take over the primary healing.
Damage has been done to the keep in the bot lane. It's been chunked by a quarter. And there's no mule in sight for them to top this one up with. Force Wall is good. Looking to lock out Jim Jam. Shadow Charge is there to follow it up. Stunned into the wall, forcing out the Aegis. Jim Jam looking to live here. Holy Radiance is good. They try and get the turnaround onto Robodobo. He is the first one to fall. Not enough damage to follow up that advancement.
Not yet. And I mean, now we can start to see Darkseid. They're crumbling just a little bit. Nomia are about to pick up 13. We can see the TLV, the onslaught of their pushing is just constant. Ryumak, he's done the deed. He then backs away with Eric the Swift. That's the push. That's the global presence that Nomia will have on this map.
Let's bring that a little bit further, Vandy. Bringing up the tab itself. 14,000 XP picked up by TLV alone. You can just look at all those stats on your screen right now. He is single-handedly allowing Nomia to have all this control, win that 4-man rotation, and try and body things from there. But there goes Tribute. It is going to spawn top left side. So I sort of want this for the Curse Point, and they're going to be hungry because they start off with the Judgment, Vandy.
They do indeed, but it doesn't seem like there's any follow-up just yet. In fact, Nomia are just backing off from this fight.
They are indeed. They traded out the Divine Storm to follow up. And that is going to be all it takes. Strafe now being used to dismount people, try and prevent them sticking around as Jim Jam is looking for that one target, that one person to utilize the Hammer of Justice on. But they were buying time. Ryu on Olaf does pick up that tribute, and now it's 2 apiece. The next one, all to play for.
Exactly that on the side of Nomia. They were just buying time. That's why they disengaged. With their job done, their mission was to get the tribute and get it safely. And now there's no bosses yet. Boss is still down for another minute and a half. So that will be the next fight. When you can get that curse and push with the boss, it can potentially be a game-winning push, especially because Nomia have so much of the map in their control. They have actually taken out, well, I'll count the middle one, almost gone, because it will probably fall in this push, but then it's just the keep, so 3 structures left on the side of Darkseid.
We don't know where this next tribute will spawn. That was the first of its rotation, spawning top left. Can go top, or it can go bot. It turns out it's going to spawn in the top, in the middle, meaning that the very next one after this will be bottom right, but that's not important right now. What is trying to secure this fight, to try and secure the tribute as well. And that's going to start off with Session looking for a judgment target.
Session, he's looking for it, but every time he's going in, there's just the peels and the Aegis.
APOC is huge, locking in 3 crucial targets. Divine Storm once again from Jim Jam. Impeccable timing before he falls on down into that Devotion Aura. Looking at Fat94. That is the priority. Make sure he lives. If he lives, they win, and that's going to cause it. Turo is the first one to fall on down. Moves extremely low, using the very last stretch of his mana to keep himself alive. And it's not going to be enough, though. Cassie, the second one to follow it. This is starting to really fall out of trouble. Vanilla, looking for the sweeps. He wants to be the hero that we don't deserve, but we're looking to try and achieve. Does he have the Tame Strike available?
Look at Vanilla, didn't need it, Pentagon. Look, instead, it's just so awkward when you're seeing an Oriole charging into you while getting slowed down by Tacitus Beam, and Vanilla's like, I'm coming for you, mate. I'm not even scared. And while all of this craziness was happening, Ryu, once again, the Lost Vikings pushing with the golems, that bribe doing so much work, especially with Merklord, and he got the tribute to get the curse for Nomia. That's going to be 3 keeps now. Their base is completely exposed.
Triple keeps. Talk about value to get from a curse. They exploited that one so well, and this is another reason they love to play these kind of team comps. A map like this where it's so big to rotate through, really punishing what Darkseid are bringing to the table. And there's no better explanation of that than the scoreboard itself. Level 18 to level 14, a 4-level lead, generally speaking, unheard of.
It really is skimmy. So now with the bosses online, this is what Nomia need. It is a clear path to their core, which they can then escort the boss into.
I suppose one big talking point that we discussed during the draft was the sanctification potential, but it hasn't come across here. It has been Judgment instead, which is an interesting variation, but that is Penta, and the wall is really good to ensure that Robodobo does not fall on down. APOC is there. He finds one target. It is straight onto Ben, and he is gone before anything can happen. No chance for an Aegis. The second one falls. It is Olaf, but they're not going to be two-faced just yet. Aegis is the insurance, buying a little bit of time. Jim Jam leading the charge, cannot use the Divine Storm. But it does not even matter. They're just pushing in the bot lane with these cannons.
It was a bit of a respite the Darkseid need, but they're still 3 levels behind, almost 4 levels behind. So essentially they are losing the experience race, and a lot of that just comes out from the Lost Vikings. It still leaves Nomia free to take out this boss. Yes, Ben did fall. But I mean, talking about the heroic choice coming out of Sashin, it's just that prioritization of really knocking out Ben Fat94 out of these fights, because he's the main hope generator, but it's just really hard to do. That's the power of the double support, the sustainability that comes out when you don't focus the healers. They're free to heal, essentially.
Scary times actually for Darkseid right now. They almost went for a Hail Mary play, realizing they would have 16. This would be their last chance before 20 was picked up by Nomia. And Nomia did actually initially start that boss, their own boss at that, but they decided to back away. They realized that the lanes are pushing so well in their favor. Why do they need to make such a risky play when they have all the pressure in the world? Not to mention the TLV Vikings. They can just push for free.
The Vikings are constantly pushing, as I said, and that is the game changer in this map. This is what Darkseid do not have, and it's not from playing passively. It's just really from just losing the game, from not taking your... There's just so many things that they need to keep tab on, because they've got the constant assault and siege coming out of that Valor Trinity, the Holy Trinity coming out, but then they also have the TLV that they need to deal with. So it's like, what do they split their attention to?
Fat94 getting extremely aggressive right there. Already using that Vault. That's a big cooldown down. Robodobo trying to punish him with that. Shadow charging him in towards the terrain for that stun charge, but cannot get it. Session was on the wings waiting for it. The hook is not going to connect into Demise, who had the dimensional shift already down. They don't have Cassia. This is why they're being so hesitant right now, Vandy.
Cassia is just on cleanup duty, making sure that the catapults don't sneak their core right from under them. And this is what Darkseid need. Really in a bit of a strange spot. Luckily, he's not getting punished for it.
Once again, Airport comes across, but it's negated by the Aegis on towards Jim Jam. That's a weird one. Divine Storm comes out, and that's going to find some value. 2 people drop in an instance Demise on the flank. Vanilla doing whatever he can in that 1v1, but it's not going to be enough. 2 people pincer maneuver on top of him, and now it's Hacky in a bit of a precarious situation. He cannot stick around for that. He is dead, and that core is looking to be the same. The minions are filtering through right now, Vandy. Looks like we're going to go to game number 3.
It does. Nomia, they're quite happy. Vanilla, it worked out for him, his positioning. Although Fat94 couldn't generate any energy from him, he lived enough so that they could turn the tide. Jim Jam is falling quite rapidly. He's tanking the core and all the damage, but the core has been caught. Jim Jam lives on 90 health, and that's GG. Game number 2 goes to Nomia.
There we go. When you need to pull out an ace card, they bring out the Cursed Hollow and unlock the full sweat mode. And that's what they need. They don't want to fall down after such a convincing 2-0 beating of Darksided last week. They don't want to start to show any signs of weaknesses or any cracks as they go into this third and final game, Vandy.
And how, I guess, pivotal the Vikings were. I mean, this scoreboard speaks for itself. 105k siege damage dealt, as well as 32k, let's call it 33k, rounded up, XP contribution done from Ryumax. So, like I said, he was pivotal in helping Nomia win that.
Yeah, TLV, such a strong hero in the right hands. And if you can't respond to it, you bite off far more than you can chew. But let's pass it right back to Crisis, game number 3, right after this.
Yeah, what an incredible game. So we've had 2 very, very dominant victories from both of these teams. And so we've got to go to game 3. And what a fantastic result for this final match of the evening, to be going all the way to the third game. We had it in the first match, and now Nomia, well, they've pulled themselves back. There are a couple of people in Twitch chat who reckon they're going to be getting the reverse sweep. Let's see who picks it up. We'll be right back after this, so don't go away.